Hey everybody, I'm Nico.
And I'm TK.
And that makes this X's for Comics. It's your weekly show where we catch up on a whole lot of comics at a time now to make it easy for you to enjoy what you enjoy and not have to read everything. Right? That's what we're here for.
But we end up reading everything.
We end up reading everything. And man, we read a lot for you guys today. Remember what we did for you.
And yet at the same time, we read so very little.
Oh my god, yeah, wow. I did not know you could have 10 issues of one thing where nothing happens, but
yeah,
we'll get into all of that. So today here at X's for Comics, we're continuing our exploration of all things big crossover. And so now we are making our way into a number of super fun modern crossovers. We're going to be taking a look at those. So today we're going to be talking about We Are Yesterday, New History of the DC Universe, Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong, volumes 1 and 2. Oh boy. We're going to also take a look at the DC KO event that's coming up starting in October. And then we're going to take a look at Marvel. We've got things like Predator vs. Spider-Man. I did not know there was Predator vs. Wolverine, or maybe I blocked it out. And I definitely did not know there was Predator vs. Black Panther. So much Predator-verse. We've got Aliens vs. Avengers. We've got Imperial. And we're going to talk a bit about the upcoming Age of Revelation. We got a lot going on today. Man, these books. You kind of hope that they get crushed by a vending machine, you know what I mean? No, not for real. I have pretty high average scores today. Admittedly, I think this is like the third time, unlike market share, I believe this is the third time that DC has lost in my rankings, and man, did they lose this week.
Yeah, and like I sort of get it. I mean, like my whole thesis is that these should all just come out in one fell swoop. Like these stories should all come out in one fell swoop. They should not come out weekly.
Nope.
And with the Marvel books that we're discussing, it's at least like 4 issues, so it's like a month. Well, sorry, it's like 4 months, but like it's 4 issues. It's not that bad. They should do it. If they did it in a month, even that would be better. Doing this, doing one of these a month for 4 months is a lot. Godzilla, JLA versus Kong versus Godzilla is 7 issues. That's more than half a year waiting for a very boring story to come out. And now we're in the midst of another one, which is like a little more fun because they were like, well, what can we do but more? And it's always funny when there's more, but it's still just not great.
Yeah, no. So let's kick things off on the positive. Let's kick things off with Marvel. I gotta be honest, I'm having a great time with Imperial. I'm having a great time, and I think what I really like is that it's one of those books where nothing happens for like 12 pages, and then like there's 2 pages with like 8 lines of dialogue that move the entire Marvel universe forward 3 years. What I'm not excited about is the rumor that it's going to be Xavier and his family getting the Exiles, which sounds like taking my favorite title and putting my least favorite things in it. So I don't want Bird Fam. Sorry.
So Imperial Exiles is definitely them. But that's very branded Imperial. And then we got the announcement for Exiles, which looks really branded old school Exiles. This is another case where Marvel has screwed themselves with me either way. If it's Xavier and Co., I don't like it because I don't like that idea. It's fine for a one-off in this book, but I wouldn't want it for the Exiles title. Right. If it is not them, I don't know why we are doing a book called Exiles and then a book called Exiles so close together. So they've damned if they do, damned if they don't. This is a constant thing with Marvel. Again, I know I give them a really hard time. And sometimes I feel bad about it and sometimes I don't. But I too really enjoy Imperial. And the way you describe it's so funny. It is like classic soap opera writing. It is that week-long stretch of just the same scene happening over and over again in any given soap opera, and then at some point in there somebody will say something that does sort of move the scene or move the plot forward, and then they're just back in one room having the same discussion on Monday as on Tuesday as on Wednesday. And yeah, it is a little bit of that here. I do like it. There's a lot of stuff I like. I think again as a whole, I'm so shocked to see Hickman of all people doing the whole. We thought it was you. We got tricked. We got hoodwinked. Oh, hi Andrew. Yeah, Nico and I are kind of matching, aren't we? He's got the V. I've got the crew. But you know, we do that from time to time. Yeah, that's the only. I don't like. You tricked us. It was a shapeshifter.
And it's the same you tricked us. It's a shapeshifter as last time.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, guys, click away now and then go read. It's 2 issues, so go read it quick and come back. It's the Skrulls, of course. It's the fucking Skrulls.
Yeah, did we really think that Wakanda was, like, declaring war on the entire Marvel universe, and, like, it was going to be no big deal, and this was the idea of, and I mean this with love, a white man to have Wakanda become the newest villains of the Marvel universe?
I mean, I almost would have liked it if it was Wakanda, but the thing was that they knew something that everybody else didn't know. Like, they were trying to take somebody else out or something. The idea that the Skrulls is, like, not my favorite thing ever. I don't know. I'm on the fence about it. I really don't like that we got tricked by shapeshifter, especially when it's like when the Hulks show up and they believe it. I'm like, Bruce, you know, T'Challa, like,
can't you rage smell?
Yeah, like, I mean, not even like, you know, the obvious facts of the case. Like, this is a man that you know personally. Would you not want to give him, like, you guys have fought together, would you not give him any benefit of any doubt that maybe something is, and like, you guys all have been tricked by shapeshifters in your life. Maybe you would say one thing where you're like, hey, could you explain what's happening here? And instead we just go right to, oh, it's definitely them. So I don't love that. It's not my favorite thing. Other than that, I guess, you know, maybe I am actually a little bit excited to return to how we got to Secret Invasion.
Yeah, you know, I don't want to say something like awful, but, you know, if you're doing a Civil War story, the South are the bad guys. It's like, that's the story. You know what I mean? The North's not great either, but, you know, that's the story. You can say those people were the ones who had that vendetta. The Skrulls are those people who have that vendetta. And, you know, it's all for Veronike, or however you... I don't care, because it's a made-up Skrull name, and I'm not going to feel bad.
I would say Blanca.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
I want to make it sound something like, you know, exotic.
What's my name?
Baranki would just be sort of sad. And
Baranki's kind of janky.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's okay to make the Skrulls bad guys because they're not a real culture. And I just want to be clear that I'm not like, let's go, you know, villainizing. But like, the Skrulls' whole thing is they are bad. They suck. Like, that's the Skrull thing. And like, you know, cool Skrulls are cool. But like, that is the story.
Well, and you know, in a city, not all cultures are a monolith. In a country, not all cultures are a monolith. The idea that like all Skrulls are bad is kind of boring. And the idea that, I mean, like, my hope is that this is an offshoot sect, and I hope it's not small. I hope it's like 50% of them. But I hope a bunch of Skrulls stay in the Kree Skrull Empire and stay, you know, want to be ruled by Emperor Doric. And I hope that a bunch of people don't, and that they are separatists. And, you know, because that's a lot more real. I know that it's very difficult when comics are juggling so much to bring in entire other spacefaring empires and not just sort of give them one motivation. But I mean, it's a little simplistic. So I don't mind, you know, I don't mind that we're seeing a separatist movement.
But can I even... What if?
Yeah.
What if they're all separatist movements? Skrulls are shapeshifters, and they're from space. And, like, I'm not putting it out there. You've given me an amazing idea pitch that you have for a thing where you're just sort of like, wow, how has nobody ever thought about telling that story in the Marvel Universe? And, like, you could convince me that just... And I'm off the top of my head.
Yeah.
There are blue Skrulls. There are red Skrulls.
Yeah.
There are orange Skrulls, and they're each in different quadrants of space. Oh, shut up. I love that. Oh, the red scroll. And then, like, they, one of them they all hate this one. These scrolls, because they're the crazy ones,
Yeah.
are banished to our dimension. Like, you could do things that redeem them, but, like, one of the things is, no, like, I feel like if, Katsuji shows up in a season of Top Chef, it's to be a horrible person, right? I feel if Dwayne The Rock Johnson shows up in your franchise, it is to smell what he is cooking, take over, and ruin it. It is like, it is nightmarish. But I feel like if you are gonna do scrolls, like, one of the things that's working for me more than other things here, I like that the scrolls don't need a lot of motivation because their whole motivation is religious fervor. And so I understand where you're coming from, that it's a little simplistic, but it's like a pseudo space psychic religious fervor for a lady that likes to pretend that she's in Kiss of the Spider Woman. I feel like we're talking about a fantastic culture here that are just a little crazier than most.
Well, it's tough now because they've put so much on Doric. I agree with everything you're saying. And actually, I agree with everything you're saying, but then this book, or some book very soon that would need to be announced very, very soon, has to be about Wiccan and Hulkling just kind of like suddenly getting phased out of being very, very important, which I would be fine. I'm totally fine. Again, like, that's a great pitch, and I like what you're saying. It's just like Marvel puts so much into trying to complexify the scrolls a little bit, which maybe that was the mistake. Maybe the mistake is not simplifying them here. Maybe the mistake was ever trying to make things more interesting in the way that, and I also really like your pitch for what if there were other scrolls? Like, what if these are it's even like, especially like, what if these are the duds?
The duds. I love that. It's like, whenever because obviously Bendis was like, hey, you guys, you know what I really like? This show, Battlestar Galactica. What do you guys think about it?
What if I just did it?
What if we just did it, right? And like, let's be honest, there are some human Cylons that are a little better than others.
It's true.
I would love it if they were
Dorals
just
suck.
Right? And if they were just like Doric, great. Elijah, fine. That one that hung out with She-Hulk for a while, cool. But for the
Ben and Alicia's children.
Oh, Ben and Alicia's children. Hey kids, you're part of the next generation. It's one of those things. Like, I would be fine with it if you introduced like a Kamala Miles-esque Punisher, who was like the mild Revenger, like that.
Yeah.
Oh, the mild Revenger. I'm obsessed. She's best friends with Marilyn Moonlight over in DC.
Do you remember? It is my recollection that there was supposed to be a lot more that happened in Secret Invasion with who he was in the phrase "he loves you," which is what they said before they suicide bombed everybody. And then they just kind of dropped it. Varanki says it's just God. And then it just kind of doesn't ever matter again. But my recollection is that it was supposed to be a reveal.
Same. And I believe that it was part of that era where Joey Q I'm just going to be really clear. Like, everybody needs to understand that when I talk about Joey Q, like, we're best friends, it's because I want to share a slice of pizza with him and like hang out and like, share a beer or whatever, like, have a good time with Joey Q. It's not because I'm overly familiar in a creepy way, but I remember talking to Joey Q one time in my basement when we were having pizza and beers. And he had this edict at Marvel for a while that was like, if it leaked, it cannot come out. If it leaked, you cut it. The minute the leak hits, the book doesn't happen, which is how Ronin was originally Daredevil and then couldn't be. And then to backtrack the lie made it Elektra. So it kind of, and then to backtrack the lie one more time, it became Echo. And so like, Joey Q had that thing, and he loved to cut stuff like that. Although we did actually just watch a fascinating video on Bullets and Blockbusters that talked about how, and I think I sent it to you about how like we were going to get to Doom no matter what.
Yeah.
And so like it sometimes strikes me that these stories, like maybe we still will get He Loves You one day, the same way we got the 12 years later.
Right.
The same way we got the promise of Avengers vs. X-Men for real many years after its initial pitch.
And that's it's kind of the reason I brought it up, is just because like that was also, it was not a disappointment, and I'm not critical of it, but when the big reveal in this issue 2 of Imperial is like, we are separatist Skrulls who still worship Varanka, I was kind of like, oh, that's like fine, and I get it. But also, like, immediately I was like, she worshipped somebody else, and she's dead. So I would just leapfrog her and have the separatist Skrull. I'd bring back that storyline. I want to know. I've this whole time I've constantly wondered who he is.
Yeah.
Because I thought it would be really cool if it was like somebody like semi-relevant, that had duped the Skrulls in some capacity, like. Some kind of Skrull, great. That actually would be insane, but that'd be so. But if it had been like some kind of like Skrull-esque celestial, or like some kind of Skrull beyond, like a Beyonder that somehow was like Skrull identified with the Skrulls or something, just to like
that like lost control of the Infinity Crystals and became a shape changer.
Yeah. Because there is always the thing about Thanos and Skrulls and the beards.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like, that was a thought that I had, that I was just like, as soon as they brought her up, I was like, she actually was just kind of like, there was supposed to be a bigger thing in the mix. But anyway, I'll be interested to see. I'll be interested to see if they are resurrecting that character.
And it's so interesting because Bendis laid the architect work for this idea in the Marvel Universe, and now Hickman is running with it. And I think one of the things that's so interesting is, like, I don't think Hickman is terribly respectful of other people's toys. And, like, I'm going to be really honest with you. I don't know what the hell I just read in Avengers Alien. It does not feel like 4 issues of the same thing, like, at all. It feels like 4 unrelated issues.
I basically agree. It's so funny. I think you picked exactly the right word. Hickman is not respectful of other people's toys. Hickman loves other people's toys, and really enjoyed them and was such a fan, and you can see that. And I love that about him. I think it's a thing that, like, as also a fan, I think it's why a lot of people respond to his work, is because as another fan, you sort of respond to it in his writing, that he clearly read these books and loves them. But I don't think you're wrong that he sometimes writes like, I love this so much and it's finally mine to do with as I will. That has worked to varying degrees. It's sort of impossible for it to work or for it to fail here, which is the stakes are 0. Like, this is not the main Marvel universe at all. And is this Fox own Alien? You're muted.
Yes, so now Disney does.
Oh yeah, Disney owns it, right? Okay, but anyway, they're not going to. This is not going to be Alien canon at all. So in this case, he's pretty safe to not do whatever he wants, and does. Okay, sure. The first issue especially feels very divorced from the next 3. Because it goes hard left into multiversal territory. I don't know. It's cute. It's fun. He knows what he knows and he loves what he loves. And I think he found a really fun way to smash some action figures together.
I loved the action figure smashing, but the thing that like left a bad taste in my mouth was using Sinister. I think my frustration is this sort of across the board idea that once the villain is yours, just use them all the time. Because like we ding DeFalco for that. Like coming back to the same old villains all the time. And we ding these people for these things. And like I actually feel that Sinister has lost all efficacy post since post the rise and fall of powers. That's it for me. I feel like we did some stuff where we decided that there were too many good guys in the X-Men, and so everyone had to be bad guys. And the only way to do that was to make bad guys again, and then also vilify a bunch of good guys, which is why every story at the start of what the hell is this called again? Brave New Girl. I don't remember the name of this era, but Rogue's era of X-Men. That was not meant like, offensive to the fact that it's women, but it is sort of like they said, okay, we're going to refocus around Rogue leads the Uncanny X-Men, and Extraordinary X-Men is also a very female-led book, but we're still going to make sure that you all know that X-Men is the real title. Look at all of the girl books, but X-Men is still the real title, and that's not what I want. I want Rogue's title to be the main book. And it kind of winds up feeling a little bit like, just to jump back and like kind of maybe put all these pieces together in a way that hopefully kind of gets what I'm getting at. Claremont was originally offered to do the book alongside Grant Morrison's New X-Men. He was told, you can have Uncanny X-Men back. You'll be at the school, and you'll have the school, or you'll be the traveling team at the school, but like you'll be with New X-Men. You'll be the other flagship title. But you won't have control over some of the story points. It will be Grant's show, and you're writing into it. And the other choice is you can just do your own thing and have a weird title that nobody's ever heard of before, and it's your choice. And he evidently did ultimately decide that he wanted to do the Uncanny title, and was a few days too late in getting that word out, and that would never happen in today's world of smartphones. But it kind of feels like Gail Simone has the Extreme X-Men to X-Men's New X-Men, even though X-Men is clearly no New X-Men. And the thing it's making me think about is the fact that it is sort of like the McKay book features the McKay people, and the Gail Simone book features the Gail Simone people. And everything feels so disjointed that it just doesn't feel natural. And the regular books shouldn't feel the way that I feel Alien vs. Avengers does, for the same reasons.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And you're totally right about Sinister. It surprised me because he comes up with an ending. Again, click away if you can't have Avengers versus Aliens spoiled for you. But no. He comes up with an ending and like an idea. Because the thing about these books, again, there's no stakes. They don't matter. These universes aren't like, it would be an insane shift for Marvel to fold Xenomorphs into the main Marvel universe. And it would be an even more insane shift for the Xenomorph universe to ever have superheroes, to have like a full planet full of superheroes in it. So like these just aren't, this is such an offshoot one-off, like this is not necessarily the same thing as Marvel versus DC and the stuff that we are covering in Amalgam that we're going to sort of talk about, where the two companies that created the superhero landscape sort of put the biggest characters in comic books in conversation, and they can reveal stuff about each other.
Yeah.
They can actually, they can tell stories that even if they can't really be canon for either universe, they can tell us something and they can sort of elevate the conversation about what heroes are. This mostly cannot do the same thing. It's going to do a lot less of the same thing. It just doesn't have the same spaces to do it. But he found something that really interested me, which is, we've talked, the Marvel has talked a lot. People have worked at Marvel about the Brood as sort of the xenomorph analog and the thing that Marvel wanted to do to sort of capitalize on space horror. They lay their eggs inside you, and it's a not dissimilar thing at all. But he came up with a really fascinating ending that it's actually symbiotes that are the thing that can fight xenomorphs, and that should terrify you maybe more than xenomorphs ever would. And I love that idea, but it comes as a really 5 minutes to midnight way to end the book, and just like really quick solution. It looks gorgeous. It's really cool. It is sort of seated in book one that Miles being in a symbiote suit is going to matter, and then dead silence until the very, very end of the book. But for me, that sort of ought to have been the thing that came up in issue 2 and been the whole thing becomes the storyline about how Sinister is doing his Sinister thing to xenomorphs. And that's very scary. And Sinister does scary things, and that can be cool. I think that's a great one book storyline. I think the reveal of the Sinister xenomorph, great one page reveal. One end of the story, that thing is gone or whatever. The symbiote xenomorph connection, the symbiotes as kind of the most scary thing in the Marvel universe, the thing that you would not want overrunning your planet. To me, that's interesting. That sort of starts a conversation about, that can reveal some interesting things about the Marvel universe and about what the really truly scary space horror things that they actually face are. But it's a really cool idea that is just like, and if you were wondering how this ends, this is how.
And I think it's that they left so much like that on the table.
Yeah, exactly.
It was just all left on the table. And I didn't think that any of these iterations of these characters got fleshed out at all.
No.
I don't think I really understood their perspective. I don't think I really understood what they were trying to tell me about these versions of these characters.
The only one was Tony, but it's really obvious. It's the most obvious,
it was Tony by numbers.
It's also like there, but for the grace of God goes another Waylon. Like, Tony is another Waylon. Like, we get it. That's been obvious for a while. That's not really revealing a lot, but the book really wallows in the idea.
I will say the Davids were surprising. The engineer was surprising, but like the way I find an all too subtle cameo surprising. Like, oh, okay, but what does it mean? That was my big thing here. I feel like a lot of when we talk about amalgam, and like those crossovers, Batman versus Spider-Man, or and Batman and Spider-Man. When we talk about those, we're talking about the fact that these ideas that exist in these microcosmic same universes can influence each other. You might not really get to see the result of Batman versus Superman, Batman versus Spider-Man, in the Marvel universe, but you'll see how that affects Spider-Man interacting with detectives down the line, and Spider-Man interacting with Wolverine down the line, right? But these stories, Alien versus Avengers, Predator versus Wolverine, they're so ridiculous. They're so like absurd. They can't really influence the characters because you can't get into the characterization of this Tony such that he's going to reflect back on the real Tony. So between this and the Predator books, I kind of felt like there was literally no characterization to be had in just about any Marvel crossover that was not Imperial.
Yeah, all the IP crossovers really. I mean, the biggest character development in all of them is Kraven. Kraven found his people. Kraven is not meant for this world. Kraven is a predator.
Yeah.
And that was actually, it's very kind of beautiful. I love the little tear going down my cheek at the end when the predator's like, "You're one of us, buddy." but it took us 4 issues to get to that point of the story. And the book is called Predator versus Spider-Man. It's really Predator versus Kraven the Hunter, or Kraven finds his family. Which, like, again, this will never matter. 616 Kraven can never come out on page and say, like, I met true predators and it changed my life forever, and like now annoying Spider-Man is hollow because I found out that I could like be around the galaxy hunting like the actual most dangerous game. It's never gonna happen. So it's just like, I don't know, it's very cute and like really kind of I thought it was a really good moment. Like, it, Kraven is so pointless in 616 books, but putting him against predators really kind of shows that like there could be something there. Like, there's a hint of something there. Kraven could really be a predator of some kind, at a level that actually did scare people, instead of being a guy in animal pelts, which, like, in the year 2025, what am I doing with that?
Yeah, I don't find the guy from Tiger King scary either.
Sorry, it's just not going to happen. But other than that, it's really Peter running around in the dark a lot.
The guy from Joe Exotic is a Labubu of Kraven the Hunter.
Kraven the Hunter, yeah, that's correct.
that's really what
yeah, but yeah, I mean, it's just like, it was, I found it, I was shocked at the end of it when I was like, this really was a book about Kraven. Nice, cute little surprise, but not enough to just, I mean, again, I cannot imagine picking this up month after month for 4 months. Like, again, one and done would have been fine. It would have been, this is probably, the Predator's probably like, let's say a C plus for me. Maybe even a C minus at times. You could have gotten me up to a B if it was one book. If it was like a 64 pager.
Oh, sure.
I probably could have gotten up to a B.
The first issue of Wolverine vs. Predator was like 44 pages. And like, it was almost a complete story. If you had put like 10 more pages on the back, I would have bought that at like $8.
Sure, just done. And then but
get me over.
Serializing this, like waiting to see what could I possibly need to wait to see what happens in this? What is going to come next week or next month that I will have been happy to wait for?
What's in the Unmasked where I'm only getting half the story? You know what I mean? Like, yes. It's very unfortunate because the other thing that I kind of hated from Spider-Man vs. Predator is, like I said, I read the other two beforehand and they are super under character developed and there's too many characters in them and they're messy. I did not enjoy them. I have nothing to say about them really. But what I didn't enjoy about Spider-Man Predator, even though it was probably my favorite of the three, is I did not like that by nature Predator is a hard thing to execute in a comic.
Yeah.
So you really need to be executing the idea of the victims and survivors.
Yeah.
Not their equal opponents, because by making it their equal opponents, you are erasing the thing that makes Predator cool. So this one, by making Kraven the same as Predator, did not humanize the Predators. It made Kraven absurd, because in some ways it made Kraven seem, it did actually make Kraven seem like more of a fighter than like Wolverine and Black Panther showed in their titles. And this was, again, the same writer, Ben Percy. So I don't know. I give this one, I feel like other than Imperial, I'm kind of giving C's across the board.
Yeah, I probably give C plus to Avengers versus Aliens, because there were a few good things in there. There was just
cool ideas, yeah.
And great Esad Ribic art. Although everybody got to come together and ask themselves how much time has passed and who aged. Because like it seems like it's really kind of supposed to be like 20 years, but then
Miles looks 3 weeks older and Tony looks like 25,000 years older.
Tony Stark has really aged. Miles has barely aged at all. Wolverine doesn't age. Like, that's part of the whole, he's aging really slowly. So the idea that this was just a really hard 20 years on him. Emma, I could maybe justify that she stayed in her diamond form for a long time, but again, armor is aging along with Miles. It just weird nonsense. They said Ribic did some great art. So yeah, C plus there, probably more like C minus for Predator. And we're in solid B territory for Imperial.
Yeah, solid B territory for Imperial. Do you want to do the preview at Marvel first and then go over to DC, or do you want to do all the books that are out and then previews at the end?
Let's do previews at the end.
Okay, then let's go into my first D- at DC ever. So the problem for me with Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong, the writing for what the writer was asked to do is great. I have no problem with the creative team's work here. I have a problem with the conceit of the book. Number one, why are we setting a story as Superman proposes to Lois? Everybody's in on the proposal like this is some sort of weird, funny episode of Friends or something. And then it's really the DC Universe versus Kaiju. It should have been called the DC Universe versus Kaiju. And also, if you're coming for those super cool monster movies that are out in the MonsterVerse films right now and on the cool TV show Monarch, don't expect that level of characterization for these monsters that actually have complex inner workings. No. They're going to literally beat an animal up, and like you throw in these characters that are like, oh wow, Aquaman's here to fight the water kaiju. Sure, but where was Animal Man? Like, where were any of the things that could have made this cool and fun? Instead, this writer was asked to deliver something that you could just pick up if your kid is 9 and likes superhero movies and monster movies, and now you've got something for your kid with nothing sexy in it, and fine.
Yep, that's basically 100% accurate. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is it does feel like it is made for a 9-year-old.
Yeah.
And not in that way where like we want to make something great that everybody from ages 6 to 100 can read.
Yep.
But specifically, we are aware that if you are 11, this book will seem facile to you. And so we specifically wrote this for 9-year-olds. Like,
Diary of a Wimpy Kid.
Nobody else need apply. You will not be able. This is not Moana where we're all going to enjoy it. This is just for you. I mean, maybe it's a success for that audience. I can't say. Don't know any of them. But yeah, I mean, it's not particularly interesting or fun. It goes on way too long. Again, it's just like there's so much source material now and so much cool stuff happening with the MonsterVerse. Yeah, I mean, Justice League versus the Titans would have been, well, they have people called the Titans. That's why this had to be called what it was. But Justice League on Skull Island, I don't know, like,
There hasn't been a title this long since Fiona Apple. Like, this is nuts.
And it's just clunky and it doesn't sound exciting or fun. But they do it. They make this book. Okay, so it's not good. I do think it is in D territory. And then they decide, we're not done yet. We got to do more of this.
Well, because Superman is unconscious for 5 of the 7 issues. So, and then I'm pretty sure the plot is they just Laz pit him and he's fine. And like, we need to talk about that. And like, this book was I loved seeing all the heroes in it. And like, you know, I got to imagine that if you're Brian Bucatello, this is like a dream. You get to write every hero in the DC universe. Like, yeah. But like, it just left me exhausted. I've read 10 issues of it, and it just left me exhausted because this is not what I wanted from either project, a DC or a MonsterVerse project. So I understand that I'm not the target audience. So I'm sure the target audience, this is an A. But for me, unfortunately, this is a low score.
Yep.
You know what's a pretty high score? We Are Yesterday and its Fallout. I really enjoyed We Are Yesterday. It should have been 2 or 3 issues. It should not have been 8 issues of the 9th issue epilogue. Like, too much, guys. Just too much and not enough. But what we got, and now there's all of these time-displaced heroes. So, like, Batman Beyond is there, and 1994, like, basically Batman versus the Punisher, Azrael is there. And, you know, Abin Sur, just before crashing on Earth, getting to know Hal. Like, there's so much cool here. I will personally miss Powder Blue Baby Faggot Sinestro, because, like, I would love for him to see other Sinestro and be like, what do you mean, Yellow Lantern? I use a yellow ring that I made. What do you mean yellow lantern? Like, I would love to see some of that, but I understand where I want too much. Although the Justice League Dark Tomorrow special, I need to be clear with you. I don't like its name because I'm like, Justice League Dark.
Tomorrow
special. Wait, that sounds dumb. Justice League Dark Tomorrow special. That sounds correct, but like a bummer. But I do love that whatever it is, they have made a terrible miscalculation in creating the new Justice League.
I really did like We Are Yesterday. I think I maybe liked its length a little bit more than you did because I actually needed the time. I needed the space to kind of explore, because I again don't know the characters as well, don't know the history as well, didn't know the old time period at all. So like getting to spend some time there, even though it was not, objectively know that it was not the best writing, and it was, a lot of repetition, but yeah, I enjoyed it. It helped me to understand things. I will say, God, DC books, when they get to their climax, they get so messy and they get so unable to, this is the end of Absolute Power. Oh no, everybody's power switch. Well, what do you mean everybody? Who? And then you have no idea. There's no comprehensive list. And so I've just spent every month since Absolute Power came out just kind of like trying to take stock of who's power switch, and then like Lois lost hers in 5 minutes. And other people are going to have them for a very long time. Just a little bit confusing. There's no comprehensive list of who is still in this time period, and then who's out, which isn't helped by the fact that like random people were just kind of in and out. It's a smart tactic insofar as they will always have the freedom to be like, this person's here and it happened at this point and you just didn't know about it. Like, you just didn't realize they were here. It just feels a little sloppy. Like a sloppy Joe. Like, it's good to eat, fun. I'm enjoying it. It's delicious. But
if you think about it too long and you go to clean up afterward, it's a mess.
Yeah, it is. It is not a 5-star, well-plated meal.
And that's even kind of how I felt about, like, you had this event and then you needed this epilogue, which leads into the next event. I think that Mark Waid is like one of the greatest storytellers in his medium, but like that also sometimes means that we let him get away with things, like pushing a story further than it should go time-wise for me. I would have ended it. Like, I feel like it just wouldn't end.
Which also is kind of what happened with Absolute Power and then the All-In special, which is the exact same format. Like, Absolute Power does kind of end, but they're like, see how it really ends in the All-In special, which then is like Darkseid shows up and he's like, actually nothing ever ends. And so then, I mean, like, does it lead into something? Sure, and that makes a lot of sense. But if you keep publishing that way, it just gets a little bit like, I can never put a book down and go, that was a great story. Yep. I'll see you next month or even next week when the next book comes out that starts the new story.
I love that perspective, because even for me, when people are sometimes like, well, you know what, Dark Phoenix Saga didn't end cleanly. There's 138 where it's literally Cyclops dealing with the emotional fallout of his wife dying. Or at that point, fiance, dying in front of him, but you don't actually get the actual payoff of the pathos. It's a scream, and a scream is not the conclusion of someone's story. And so you go further, and then that starts the next, and like, you can make that argument, but like, you ended that story knowing she was dead. Period. No one's dead. Like, that's like, and when they're dead, they're not really dead, because you find out that it's like, Iron Lad Tony Stark in Ultimates, and it's the next issue, and he's secretly alive in the same pod that Superman was in before they threw him in the Lazarus pit. So, like, I really hear you, and I even seek to agree with your assessment of the criticism. Really.
I just, it's, and I'm kind of agreeing with yours because it doesn't end, but like, it also kind of didn't have to be like this, like that final issue, the epilogue could have just been the next number. Like, it didn't have to be epilogue. But also like we could have just stopped. We could have fully ended this with Justice League Unlimited number 9, and then I don't know what you, or number 8, and then I don't know what you would do with number 9. I don't know how you would. I don't know what it is. Is this supposed to be leading? So this into Dark Tomorrow special? Yes.
Yes.
Into DCKO?
Yes.
Okay, so that's too much. That's too many steps. That's too much math. Yeah, I probably would have figured out how to combine. I would have made Dark Tomorrow special DCKO 0.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't. For one thing, on top of like, just to keep things a little more contained, I would have done that. But then also, as we discussed, it is a terrible name when Justice League Dark is a brand.
Yes.
Because I unironically just like saw it in passing and really did think it was Justice League Dark Tomorrow, like the Justice League Dark of tomorrow.
Yeah.
I was 100% certain it was a Justice League Dark thing, and then finally I read a solicit or something, and I was like, oh, it's Justice League Dark Tomorrow. That's very confusing and really silly when you're a group of people that edits and like you have a writer's room and you are aware of what you own. I just can't imagine sitting in that meeting. I have to wonder if there was like a team of people that were like, please do not publish this. And there's this one idiot too many who voted the other way.
Yep.
But like, I cannot imagine sitting in a pitch meeting, in an editor's meeting, in a publisher's meeting, and not being like, we have a property called Justice League Dark. You cannot publish a thing called Justice League Dark Tomorrow. The
other thing is it makes for bad comparisons.
Yeah,
because, I think about when Andy Diggle ended his kind of disastrous Daredevil Shadowland run with Daredevil Reborn. And you should have never named a forgettable, boring miniseries that's meant to channel the energy of Badlands, the one issue by Miller just before Born Again, and then have it channel Born Again, because then everybody who read it was like, this is certainly not Born Again. And like, I'm going to read this thing and be like, you couldn't just call it something different and give me a Justice League Dark book? Because like the comparison is going to bother me now. So, though I feel like I do want to say that one of the things about the We Are Yesterday event that I was really thinking about is that must have been a great time for Mark Waid as he was already working on the new history of the DC universe. Because like thinking about how many eras he is writing in currently, my head would explode. He has to have so many versions of these characters stored up in his mind, ready to write. The simplification techniques were cool for me there. But like, I really feel like there is such a connectivity between his new history and his We Are Yesterday.
New history really took a turn for me in this second issue.
Good or bad?
Not the best.
Oh no.
I don't know. It was actually good for me, but I kind of recognize that it wasn't maybe the best writing.
Oh yeah, it was like a wiki article.
Yeah, the first one feels like this incredible sort of cosmological, mythological condensation and summarization of DC history, but like it felt a little more prose, a little more storytelling. It really felt like it was myth telling.
Yeah.
And then this really felt like, and it kept being like, and then Superman showed up, and then this guy showed up, and it was like there was no like explanation of the origin, or like this felt like it needed itself to be at least two different things. Because I was really excited, because I was like, oh, I hope we're eventually getting to the Crisis on Infinite Earths, because that's where this kind of the kind of writing in the first book would really help me to understand some stuff that I didn't get. So I knew that's the direction we were going, and I was really, really excited about it. But this in and of itself could have been at least 2 issues using that same language that's in the first one to give sort of more fleshed out explanations of everybody's origins. And instead it just keeps being like, and Superman was there and his power is this, and Wonder Woman was there and her power is this, and then this guy showed up and his power is this, which was just a little less sexy than what we got in the first issue.
Especially because so much of it is like, also this is the bad guy they fought, and then they fought a different version of the same bad guy.
Yeah,
like it was a little too let's list it out. It's also really funny because, like, again, talking about people who were working on things at the same time, Mike Allred was drawing Batman Dark Age, which half the stuff looked like this version of Batman in here just recently. And so, like, you keep winding up in this position where it's almost like hard, because it does feel sometimes like this wiki summary that they're giving us, they give us in monthly titles, and now I don't think you can convince me that I need another Batman Dark Patterns telling me, because you can give me a really good 1 page where I get the vibe.
Yeah.
And so this is kind of making a case for things like, perhaps we don't need as much Justice League versus Kong versus Godzilla in multiple issues. Maybe it can be, like you're saying, a 48-page special.
Yeah.
You know, I think the other thing about New History that I had a little trouble with is the fluidity of time is a little funky. Stuff is happening really out of order. And I don't know if it's just like not stopping this thought to go to that thought and then coming back or what, but stuff is really out of order. Like the way they presented when the Titans formed the super cool Titans is like it's a little late. But then some of the other stuff might have been a little early instead. I don't know. But, you know, one thing for me is that until post-Crisis in 1990, Sinestro was just a Green Lantern that went bad. It wasn't until Emerald Dawn in 89 or 90 that Sinestro became Hal Jordan's teacher and former best friend when he first joined the Corps. And that's now been the story forever, and it's never changed again. Since 1990, Sinestro was Hal Jordan's teacher and mentor and best friend in the Corps, and then turned and had to be brought back in by Hal. And I liked just getting that out of the way here. Cool. Make the change here, because it's actually too hard to make the other pre-Crisis stuff work. So I prefer this.
Yeah, these are obviously things that I had less trouble with because I don't know the history.
Oh, yeah, no, but I'm saying most of it, you're not missing anything, pal.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's better.
Yeah, I get it.
You know what I didn't get? I did not get the excitement about these upcoming crossovers.
No. Yeah.
I'm not excited about DCKO as an event. I'm excited about it as like a mini series that maybe the events of hit the DC universe after. But the idea that I'm going to spend, like, Jonah just got us started on Hunter x Hunter, and we're almost done with the second arc. Having a great time with it. But, like, I cannot imagine what that 61 episode season is, like what that arc is, because I'm like, the compression speed of this storytelling, I like that the second season, the arc is like 12 episodes. And that's like, that feels really good. That feels like a great length, and I'm having a good time vibing with it. A punch 'em out contest cannot be 13 weeks, let alone like 6 issues plus tie-ins plus events. Like, too much.
Yeah. I also, it's weird that it's just Battle World. It's uncomfortable. It's also just like, this is how you have to prepare for Darkseid to come back.
No, it's Darkseid's back. I believe Darkseid's putting them in the punch 'em up contest.
I feel like that is not the language that is used, but
I believe you. But I thought the thing was like absolute Darkseid is like, now you guys got a punch for me. Like,
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I just even if that is the case, I don't like this. Seems like a weird way to bring him back.
Oh yeah,
like to have him come back. Yeah, no, it's a fight to see who's strong enough to fight him as he's not the anyway.
So he's not even involved. They're just having a punching competition. They're just possibly going to hurt each other to see who's strong enough to fight him.
It seems that way, yeah. And so this also, reminds me of Enter the Phoenix, which was one of the sillier Jason Aaron Avengers moments, but did lead to getting to see everybody as a Phoenix. So that was a little cool. I don't know. This is a little weird. There was so much strange esoteric stuff around, and including like in We Are Yesterday, around Darkseid being gone, and the idea that this universe is cut off from the rest of the multiverse, and Omega energy, and this idea again, like, that I'm still really confused about, but I think is cool, but I have no idea what's going on, that Darkseid is the absolute universe, and the absolute universe is showing no signs of stopping. So, what does that mean that Darkseid is coming back at all? And then taking all of these cool, weird, interesting things and then saying, you guys have to fight to the death. It's not even fight to the death, just fight to see who wins. Because of course they're not going to kill everybody. It's an arm wrestling competition. That's like, it's just so weird for an event that's like their big event. I don't know what to do with it. It could be really fun. It could be really silly and then somehow get really poetic. Who knows? I'm not saying absolutely not. It was a little jarring to get the solicits.
Yeah, and I'm also in a position where I don't like stories that exist explicitly to say Flash is faster than Superman and Martian Manhunter is stronger than Superman and Batman is smarter than Superman, but Superman is second place at everything, so it's okay, and none for Wonder Woman. Bye. I don't love these stories because that's, number one, not going to be the case in a couple of years. As we're talking about these Marvelverse DC stories over in Marvelverse DC, and you guys can check out, we're going to be doing Marvelverse DC 1 through 3 in Saturday or Sunday's bonus episode. It's the weekend, so be relaxed with it, be easy, you'll get it when you get it. It's very exciting. But the general thing there is like, people win in that, and then the next time they meet those characters, they would not win because someone different is writing it, and the tide is turned a little bit. So I don't think that this is I think it's a cool idea, but I don't think it's a good thing for the DC universe.
Yeah. But my mind is open. We will wait and see.
Yeah, because I love Scott Snyder as a rule. And his absolute Batman is big deal right now. It's a lot of fun, and it's certainly not ultimate end gaming itself to death. So good for it. Okay, but you know what I am not even... I can't even entertain my feelings on Age of Revelation, because I don't understand when... Like, okay, so I guess what we're saying is that, like, Marvel's got wars, DC's got crises. Batman's vaguely got, like, balls and ends, and if it's got, like, a negative adjective, it's basically a Batman story. You can give anything religious to Daredevil, and I guess we're just saying that every time you want to do an X-Men story, you either do Age of or a funny little play on it like Sins of Sinister. But like Sins of Sinister was an Age of Apocalypse. Age of Apocalypse was Age of Apocalypse. Age of X is Age of Apocalypse. Days of Future Past is essentially Age of Days of Future Past. It's essentially Age of Sentinels is what it is. Yeah. And so like
and lest we not forget Age of X-Man.
Age of X-Man. I literally did forget it.
Yeah, of course you did, because there's been so many and some of them are not memorable.
Ages of Apocalypse was one. And like, also, you know what? There's also the reverse of Ages, where they do the time through someone's entire life story, and you get the eras of Wolverine.
So like X lives and deaths, and
and you do that with a lot of characters from time to time, and it's exciting and it's fascinating. But so it sort of seems like the only two stories that the X-Men ever want to tell are the ones you've already read, or ones that literally don't happen. Guys, no wonder you haven't been adapted to the fucking movies yet. Get a story.
And I think the thing that it's so... The original Age of Apocalypse was a real disruption, and it was very difficult to, like, for in the books, narratively, it was very difficult to make happen. They watched the world end. They experienced the end of the world. And then it was difficult to come back from. And it did things like, it gave us X-Man. It brought a lot, Sugar Man came back as well. Dark Beast came back. Like it brought a lot with it. When Age of X was done, nothing changed. Everybody was like, I think I had a dream last night. Same thing with Age of X-Man. And also House of M was one of these as well. That was Age of Magneto. They just progressively have become what if stories that interrupt the publishing schedule rather than getting published as what if stories. And this one is just a huge grab of stuff that it is it's like 16 plus books.
It's like 16 unique titles that are each going to run 3 or 4 months.
Yeah. None of which seem like especially interesting. And again, it's sort of like I was talking about with what these crossover IPs and what I think is interesting about doing Marvel versus DC. What can these tell us about the heroes? Like, what can exploring them in an alternate reality tell us about them? That there is a lot of stuff. But the great thing is when it is main continuity that is, just shifted to the side a little bit, you could actually carry some of that stuff home with you too. Like some of the changes that happen can become something else. They can be, the creation of X-Man. They can be Beast discovering that, with a little push to the other side, he can be insanely evil, and having proof of that, eventually Cask of Amontillato's him. But that's not what this is going to be. It's just going to be kind of like, can you believe how dark this is? Like, can you believe Cyclops has a beard now? Like, can you believe Quentin Quire is leading the team for Revelation?
I think what we're all kind of attacking it for is it's testing which characters they're going to stick in what movies. It's seeing if Jean can fit in a Captain Marvel movie, or if Captain Marvel can fit in a Jean movie.
Right.
It's seeing if Wolverine and Punisher have a chance, if Laura is going to be Wolverine.
Right. There's nothing about this. There's not a single title that has been revealed where I'm just like, man, I'm so interested in that story. And I did not hate the idea of Doug as Revelation. It's not my favorite thing ever, but like, I've always thought that Doug's powers you and I have talked about this because I think you feel the same way. Like Doug's powers should be one of those things that like can scale up to, he can speak the language of the universe and do whatever he wants. I just think that's cool. So seeing him become the heir to Apocalypse is cool to me. I just don't trust anybody right now. I trust people to write it. I don't trust Marvel to publish it very well. I don't trust Jed McKay to write it. There's people there that I trust to write it. I don't really trust Jed McKay to write it. I think this is going to be a lot of people fighting, realizing the enemy that they're fighting is the wrong guy for them, and everybody switches dance partners. It's going to be a lot of that. You know, there's a couple people that are getting titles who've never worked with Marvel before, who I'm very excited to see what they've got. I love a showcase like that. Like, I don't, but again, maybe it's one issue. You know, maybe it's I don't know. I'm not particularly excited about this. This is not going to lead to anything. Sins of Sinister left us with absolutely nothing. We did not take a single thing home from that that lasted past Fall of the House of X.
Yeah.
Age of X-Man didn't take a single thing. We left stuff. We left X-Man. We didn't, you know, we that was a net negative. We lost characters in that. No, you know, Psylocke was having a sexual relationship or a romantic relationship with Blob. Was really cool and beautiful. Never became a thing again because, of course, fat people don't deserve love of beautiful women. You know, just nothing, you know, nothing we took out of that.
I think a few characters were like created there and then their writers made them appear here.
Yes. So Vita Ayala, I think, specifically made characters in Prisoners of X or Prisoner X.
So unrelated versions of the same people.
Yeah. Yeah. We did get Galora, who I think is Karma's girlfriend. And a couple others. Yeah. And I love those. I do love stuff like that. That's great. But like, I'm glad you brought it up because that both proves and doesn't prove my, you know, that proves my point by not proving my point. Like,
exactly.
Yeah, you technically take stuff back with us, but it's Galora where you audience, tell me where's the last time you've seen Galora be super important. But like, we of course don't take the romantic relationship between Psylocke and Blob, which would be hugely important to see. And would have been a real, you know, tonal shift in a lot of ways. So I just feel like we're going to be spinning our wheels and being asked to spend an exorbitant amount of money on something where, yeah, hopefully some of the younger cool writers that are doing, like, I think it's a new person on Cloak and Dagger, or there's a couple of them, and if those writers get their start,
larger, whatever it's called,
them, if they get their start and then they make a cool character that they can bring back, I love that. But like, other than that, I have no expectations, and like not like not in a good way.
Yeah, it is specifically no expectations and not in a good way, because I almost want to, like, it sucks because I almost want to be like, no, I'm not going to read this event at the time. I will only read it after the fact. And I'm really confident in that, and I'm really comfortable with it, because one of the things that I don't want to do is I don't want to tell Marvel they can keep taking advantage of my better nature.
Yeah.
So if they do House and Powers Volume 2, but it's like House and Powers of X Factor, and it leads into some cool new age that's the age designed by Jean and Scott instead of Xavier and Moira. Okay, you know what? I'll give you this chance. That's a cool idea. But what I won't give you a chance on is doing Days of Future Krakoa. If you begin saying that all you have left is mixing metaphors, I'm going to tell you I can't understand what you're saying. Like, you know, the reason pronouns work is because they have an antecedent. They have a thing that they refer back to. There's a reason you can't say Nico and TK are on the show and he's the best one. Obviously, everybody knows which one you're talking about. It's KEVO. But, like, we are here to make things clear. We're here to make things understood. And when you're trying to say, look at all the threads we're weaving together, you're going to get one ugly blanket. Do you see what's happening? I am purposefully mixing my analogies, and it's getting hard to understand.
Yeah. This weird mix and match. Like, are we just pitching things by like pulling index cards that have X-Men related nouns and adjectives on them? It's not for me. And yeah, I mean, I completely, you know, and I like the way that we did it with One World Under Doom.
Mm-hmm.
We did not cover One World Under Doom as it was coming out. And we basically have not talked about any of the crossover titles because we haven't bought them, because I don't want to do this. I don't want to tell you guys that this is okay, but I'll check out the main one. Sure.
Yeah.
I'm not going to buy it every week
Nope.
because I'm not going to tell you guys that that's okay either. But like, you know, I'll check it out. I will do that little bit. And I imagine at some point before December, because I think it starts in October.
I thought it was September, but I believe it could
Sure.
be.
Yeah. I think at some point before December, we will discuss something from Age of Revelation. But no, we're not going to do every book every week. We're not going to do, you know, a roundup of all the books after 4 weeks. And yeah, I don't want to keep doing this.
And that's even part of where it really is about joy for me. It's about what inspires my joy. We're at an unusual crossroads, like as a network, right? So like there have been very, very few breaks in Drag Race airing across the many English-speaking versions. And I only say English-speaking versions because I don't feel that we are fit to critique cultures where the language barrier, let alone the cultural barrier, we don't know that style of humor. But if we don't know the language and we don't know the style of humor, we're just being cruel for no reason. So like we try to stick to material where our voice adds something to the conversation. And at the moment, there is like no English speaking Drag Race on TV, really. And so we are taking our first big break from covering Drag Race. And we said, what do we want to cover? So we covered the Fantastic Four movie. We covered Strange New Worlds coming back. We're going to talk about some other comic book movie, TV properties. But we covered Project Runway because it's one of my favorites of all time. And it somehow is one of our biggest reactions in a minute. I'm thrilled. I bring it up because like Marvel was not doing character study throwback pieces when they said Mark Waid do Daredevil. He did Daredevil, and then every book was a character study piece. For 4 years, every book was trying to capture that magic. And everything was a concept piece about a character with a unique style of art. Because sometimes you do something out of nowhere and it works. But you can look at our numbers. There's episodes of Drag Race that, despite the fact that we are consistent on it, people just didn't tune in. Because sometimes you need to be out of the box. And like, we're learning that. I hope Marvel can learn that too.
It's also like sometimes people don't tune in because the episode wasn't good and they don't really care to rehash it.
Yeah.
And similarly, like sometimes people aren't enthusiastic about the event. Like it just
Blood Hunt.
Yeah, like it's just not exciting to people. And it sucks for comics because you have to plan and publish, but nobody's asking you to do 50 books.
No.
In fact, I think a lot of people are asking you specifically not to do 50 books. And in fact, if you could be more experimental with 6 and, you know, maybe get us a little more hyped about them, maybe we could have a little more engagement about them. I would be down for that. A really wild 6-book crossover event, I think I would have a lot of fun talking about. And again, like One World Under Doom is unfortunate because it's not wild at all. It's like the opposite of that. It's not exciting to cover because it's not risky, but I'll at least do it. I'll talk about the issues because there's not that many of just the main book.
Yeah.
But if it was something weird and experimental and fun and risky, and it was 6 issues, yeah, I'd really be enthusiastic about the show covering it and talking about it. And I think the audience would be enthusiastic about coming on to talk about it with us.
I agree. And I feel like that's where I'm pushing for both companies to learn something from this upcoming Batman Deadpool crossover, see where we're going to go, look at the reactions people are going to have to the individual stories, and take a look at the reactions that people are having. Like, you know, like you said, we know as a fact they've admitted that Absolute is a reflection of Ultimate. And like you said, DCKO looks like a reflection of Battle World. And like, At the same time, there are plenty of things over at Marvel that are reflections of DC. So I really do hope that they can learn to grow outside their mold, because I don't think Spider-Man became popular the way he is today if it hadn't been for Venom, big departure. Miles, big departure. Even Spider-Gwen, big departure. So until then, I mean, I'm here for the ride. I'm excited. Overall, I kind of give the Marvel stuff this week a C+, and I think the DC stuff averages a C-. It's tough, but
yeah, I'm about at the same place with you. Marvel stuff is a C+ with like no hope of a future. I mean, I guess with the exception of Imperial, but like even Imperial, like I don't have a lot of hope for the future. It's just a good story. Like, yeah, I don't know where this is taking. Again, like the only book we know a few things about a few books that are coming out after this, but like Exiles is the only one that has really anything notable. And as you pointed out, it's not the most exciting thing ever. Meanwhile, DC content C-, but like there's a lot to pay attention to on the horizon coming out of, especially We Are Yesterday. I don't think it looks the best, but it does. I'm much more like, I don't know, like maybe even though I think they're copying Marvel in this way of like it's cynically they're pulling ideas that Marvel has had success with in like these contests of champions. But I'm open-minded insofar as like they haven't told us a lot. We might be really surprised at how this all comes out, how it's written. So like they're getting, even though the content this week was not the best, I'm looking much more to what they're doing with sort of like, okay, I'll let you guys do it. I doubt you, but I'll let you guys do it.
Yeah, and that's what I'm looking forward to. So, I mean, I'm good. You good?
I'm good.
All right, man. We got more stuff coming your way. Watch this weekend. Don't forget about your bonus episode covering Marvel vs. DC. In the next couple of weeks, our content is going to be Wonder Woman and Daredevil next week, before we take a look at things like Bullets and Bracelets, Assassins, and Amazon from Amalgam. After that, we're going to be taking a look at The Flash and some Marvel titles before heading back, because, oh shit, we're almost at it. We are almost at Batman Deadpool. So we're going to be taking a look at some Batman books to get caught up. We got some Wolverine books. We've got X-Men Justice League. And then, yeah, it's all happening. So definitely keep an eye out. Subscribe, like. We've got X's for comics, X's for show, X's for podcast. And, of course, we've got producer KEVO, who is X's for great, right? And where can we find you?
Sorry.
I jumped in. Look at your screen, bitch. I'm the best one. Remember, he said so earlier. Continuity. Weaving the threads together.
It's a crossover.
It's a crossover. KEVO, really, check us out at X's for Show. Like they said, we did a lot of cool stuff recently. We got a lot of cool stuff coming up. We have FlameCon coming up next week. We've got one more comic broadcast before that, I think, hopefully, and then come check us out. We got a panel, we got a table. So if you are a queer in New York City, come to FlameCon. It's a good time.
Love it. Okay, now
I can do it. It's me. Now you can find me at TK Accidental. That's all I got. You go.
Nico Action, NICOACTION. Of course, this is X's for Show. Don't forget you can check my music out. Throw music at the end of my name. But until next time, guys, number 1, stay safe. Number 2, be brave. Number 3, evolve daily. Who you were, who you are, who tomorrow. It's all going to be in an X-Men crossover. So until it's Ages of You, we'll see ya.